Hey there, good to see you. My name's Mike, and I'm very happy to be here to talk to you today about a Sierra game that I don't think many people talk about, at least in the way that I think that it should be talked about. That's a bit weird of a thing to say, but stick with me and we'll see how this goes. What is the most unique Sierra graphic adventure? We got all these awesome games that people have been playing and talking about for years now, but what one, kind of stands out to me? The one that I think deserves a little bit more credit, that is the most unique experience that I've had from a graphic adventure, the one that has the most replayability that I've experienced, the one that has an interesting and compelling plot, the one that has awesome graphics, and flies under the radar too much. Well, that game to me is The Colonel's Bequest. The Colonel's Bequest is this very interesting game. It doesn't stand out for most people, I don't think. I think most people overlook this as a standout classic from Sierra. This game blew my mind when I played it. I only played it for the first time relatively recently, and it's probably got the highest replayability out of any of the Sierra games I've played so far. And that's weird because the whole point of this game, the whole way this game is constructed and presented to the player, is as a kind of interactive play. Which you would think, okay, scripted sequences, you just get to play through the game and then it's done, that's it. What really happens is you end up running through this world, seeing different events occur, triggering different things to happen, but you can easily miss very important things. And that sounds like it sucks, right? Sounds like, oh, I missed the important thing and therefore I'm soft-locked and I can't win the game. Well, yeah, you can't get the best score, but you can kind of make it through. Sure, you'll probably die, it's a Sierra game. And actually, some of the deaths are just glorious. I love them. There's one that's so memorable, being sliced in half by an axe. There's one that I just love, which is hilarious. It's a rare occurrence, kind of an Easter egg almost, where you get crushed and end up waddling around with your feet poking out from the edges of it. It's very, very funny, and I think that the way Sierra put this game together is just so unique. Yeah, sure, the deaths are there. Sure, you can probably technically soft lock yourself, but what really happens, you can delve into these secrets and find things, and you can get a perfect score, and still I think you can miss a few things, in terms of the weird little animations, and the replayability is extremely high with this game. But I think at the core, what this game does that even modern games don't really do, and adventure games haven't really delved into the depths of what's possible looking at what is done in this game, is that experience that you get of playing through a play. You get exposed to more layers of the mystery, and you can play through this game and be kind of oblivious to everything that has happened around you. Of course, you witness the dead bodies and you discover them, and the game progresses through time and stuff like that, but you can easily just not progress, unpeel that layer and find what's underneath. It's easy to miss important details, and you end up thinking what happened? Why did this happen? What did I miss? How do I find out more? And at the end of the game, you're presented with a list of all of the tasks that you successfully completed, and you get a ranking, basically a score. And you can get a very high score and still miss some important details, which I think is awesome. Hopefully what I've said has convinced you a little bit about why you should actually give this game a try. Because you probably, honestly, people will have probably already told you to play Police Quest, or Space Quest, or King's Quest. People have probably told you to play Quest for Glory. They've probably even told you to play the Dynamics games. They've probably told you to play, oh yeah, you should play Rise of the Dragon. It's really cool because of these things that happen in it. And you know what? Rise of the Dragon's cool. And Manhunter's cool too. They're investigative games where you have to take notes and figure out what's going on and find out who did what and solve the mystery. This game's another mystery game too, and you have to keep notes and find out who did what. But this one has so many more layers to it, and it's interesting. And the game designer is not afraid that you're going to miss something important. They're not afraid that you're going to miss something they put a lot of work into. And that's a lesson that I think a lot of even modern graphic adventures could learn from, is hey, it's okay if the player doesn't see everything. In fact, that might be a reason they'll come back and keep playing your game, and then recommend it to other people, because you gave them an experience of finding something that wasn't easy to find. Something that was hidden behind a door that you missed. Or you knew there must be something behind this secret passage, but you couldn't figure out how to open it. And it turns out, yeah, you missed an item earlier in the game, and like our design sensibilities these days with modern point-and-click adventures, they basically follow the LucasArts sort of philosophy of like, well, we won't allow you to progress out of this area until you have absolutely everything you need to get out of the area. And there's a very nice, like, I love that design philosophy, don't get me wrong. I love the idea of like the perfection of having a chain of events and a chain of items that you need to solve the game, and it's all there, laid out bare before you. I like that idea. It's a very good idea. By shaving off those rough edges, I think you'd lose something very important to the sense of wonder and discovery that games let you have. And you can't get that from a lot of games that follow that principle so tightly. Having layers of mystery involved in the Colonel's Bequest means that you can come back and play this game 3 or 4 times maybe, and you still haven't seen everything. And even if you have seen everything, you're going to talk to your friends about it. You're going to say, oh, it was so cool. The first time I played it, I didn't see hardly anything. And then I came back and I wanted to know like what I could have done better. I wanted to find out what the mystery was that like was hinted at by this dialogue I saw, but I never really figured out how to trigger the next part of that dialogue. Like, all that kind of stuff is like really interesting. This game's got eavesdropping. You can hide in the walls and listen to people. You can go through, I don't want to spoil too much, but you can go to different places that are maybe hidden from sight. You can't normally reach them, and you can solve puzzles to get into new places and unravel a little bit more of the mystery. And ultimately, like, it's a very well designed structure to allow the player to exist within. And yeah, it's scripted, so you're not getting the cool Blade Runner experience of there being a different replicant, like, you know, different characters being the replicant or something like that. You don't exactly get that, but there is randomization in this game. That does change it up a bit. Different events can occur in different orders and different sequences, different places. Now, talking about what else is cool about this game? Because it's not just the gameplay. Remember, we're talking about big boxes, we're talking about collections. This game has a lot to offer inside the box, and I think we should take a closer look at that and see what we can find, and maybe discover some other new interesting things that maybe you don't get out of the digital version, but I think the physical version definitely has a lot to offer. Let's go take a look at that. Okay, let's take a closer look at the Colonel's Bequest. This is a Roberta Williams game, of course, from Sierra. All of the system requirements are listed here on the front of the box as well, which is quite helpful for people looking to see what they're going to get in the box. This box is this includes both the 3.5-inch discs and the 5.25-inch discs, which is obviously pretty nice. Requires 512K, 8 MHz or faster recommended. IBM Tandy and MS-DOS compatible. Supports Tandy graphics, CGA, EGA, MCGA, PS2. Supports Tandy oh wait, I just read that. VGA and Hercules monochrome. Hard disk recommended. Mouse, joystick optional. Supports Roland MT32, AdLib, Game Blaster, IBM music cards, and other music synthesizers. 3.5-inch and 5.25-inch discs enclosed, 640k PC on PC Junior. The ad-lib music in this is fine. The MT32 music is glorious. It's very good. I highly recommend, if you can play this with the MT32 music, that's definitely a worthwhile experience. Playing it in EGA is just glorious. They've done a beautiful job on the artwork in this game. The cover, look how striking this cover is. In fact, this cover was so inspiring for me, personally. I made a similar designed fan poster for a game that is not yet out. Hopefully it will be out soon. It's supposed to be out this year, called The Crimson Diamond. I won't talk about it right now, but there's the poster for you to take a look at. You can see, obviously, the inspiration I took from the Colonel's Bequest cover art. It's a Laura Bow mystery, The Colonel's Bequest, by Roberta Williams, designer of the best-selling King's Quest series. Now, for me, this game holds another special place in my heart not because of this game specifically, but because of Mystery House. When I was a kid, Mystery House, I think, was the first graphic adventure game that I ever played. I played it at school as part of a class activity. I don't know why the teacher was allowed to we went to a computer room and we just played Mystery House. We played with a few other pieces of software, but I vividly remember Mystery House. I didn't remember that it was called Mystery House for decades. It wasn't until, I think, 2017, or maybe it was a little earlier, I uploaded an image to Reddit and said, hey, does anybody remember this game? And quickly I got responses that, yeah, it's this game. So I drew this image from memory, and it's, you can compare it, to the Apple II screenshot, that obviously, that's what I should be remembering, but, my memory had changed it a little bit, but I think, I'm pretty proud of my memory for getting it as close as I did. Now, looking at the Colonel's Bequest again, this is another murder house mystery type thing. It's very similar in plot to Mystery House, I feel. And maybe that's why I appreciated this game for what it is just a little bit more than maybe other people have. Looking at this monocle here on the back of the box, nicely rendered. We've got a nice photo of Roberta Williams here. We have ourselves a nice detailed description of the game, and obviously you got some interesting screenshots. Now this one here is interesting because they've blanked out who the person is that's been murdered there. You won't be able to tell quite who it is. The cast of characters in this game is pretty vast. Obviously we've got the Colonel sitting in his wheelchair here and some mysterious shadow showing him holding a dagger, which is well, what's going on there? Is the Colonel the murderer? Maybe they've spoiled it on the cover. Who knows? It's very good cover art though. Let's take a look. Slide this slipcover off. Again, another slipcover design that I like these slipcover designs. Sierra was very clever in the way that they managed their business. Obviously, having these internal boxes be the same, if you've got the Colonel's Bequest, or if you've got King's Quest, or you've got Police Quest, or anything, they all have, from a certain era, they all have this internal packaging, which is great. I gotta say, I appreciate that. I've always appreciated that, ever since I first saw it like that. Now, inside my copy, there is, this has been registered. It's one of the few games in my collection that the user actually bothered to register, but they did. So this is only half of the registration card. It's been removed and sent in, redeemed, but here it is. They retained this part. It says, please retain this, and here it is. I still have the warranty tab retained in the box. I guess it doesn't really matter, but it's nice to have at least. And then of course we've got the manual. This is the user manual for the game, and it's got a lot of interesting details in there. One thing that I think is worth noting is that it does say a play by Roberta Williams, like I was saying earlier. And if we look in a little deeper, it's got this little detail here, which I think is worth reading. I'm going to read that out. About the Colonel's Bequest. The Colonel's Bequest is different from many adventure games. That's definitely true. It is different. That's why I'm talking about it today. It can best be described as an interactive play in 8 acts. You will play the entire game in one location on an isolated island in a bayou. Events can take place throughout the locale at any time during the game, and they may occur whether you are present or not. At the end of each act, a clock will appear on your screen and strike the hour. It will also appear at other intervals during the game. Take note of the events which cause this to happen, and your location at the time it occurs, as this will help you keep track of your progress. Being in the right place at the right time can be invaluable. Also, if you have thoroughly explored a room, don't assume that the next time you visit the room things will be the same. While you are exploring another area, someone else may enter the room and leave a valuable clue for you to find. And this is the core of why I think this game is so interesting. Everything that they say here outlines what makes this game actually unique. They call it out right at the front. It's different from many adventure games. It is so different. It's very, very clever. What they've done here is make an environment that lives and breathes around you, despite you almost. Well, not despite, but it moves without you. You obviously are going to trigger the events to move into the next act, but things will happen whether you're there or not. You'll see people wandering around outside the house or through the window, and you won't know exactly who it is necessarily. And it's easy to miss little details as well, things that might give you a little hint. Now here's the cast of characters. The cast of characters obviously looking glorious in their cross-stitch frames from the look of it. I won't go through every single person there. We're not here to talk about the game in super detailed depth, but we can see, like, we are outlining Act 1, which is, it starts at the university that Laura attends at the Tulane University. You don't spend much time there, although it is one of the it does have one of the most beautiful rendered scenes in the game. As far as the background goes. So that's all of Act 1, and that's where the game starts. Now, obviously, there's a lot more detail going on here, how to play the game and all that kind of stuff. We don't need to look at every single detail in the manual, but it is a nice manual. They have a lot of good content in there to help you get started with the game. A lot of details and hints about how to play, interacting, and such like that. There is a little walkthrough as well. It doesn't take you through the entire game, but it gives you a bit of a hint how to get started. Get you used to playing the game, that kind of thing. Now, that's the manual. Now, of course, we have all these floppy disks. With so many floppy disks in the box, it actually is really densely packed. There are 4 3.5-inch floppy disks included in the game. The labels that Sierra used are very beautiful, of course. Sierra publishing a very high standard of quality at the time. And of course, the 5.25-inch floppy disks as well. We have 10 of those to cover the entire game. It's quite a lot of floppy disks. This is why the box is so dense and so heavy. Now here is some cool stuff that we've got that came along with the game. And of course we have this beautiful stationery for Laura Bow from Tulane University. It's all personalized with her name, the pencil and the notepad. This one hasn't been used, fortunately. But yeah, the Tulane University provided Laura Bow, I guess, or she got these printed herself, so her family did. I'm not sure exactly how this happened in the lore of the game, but we have a beautiful lined notepad that hasn't been used before, so I won't be bending it or using it myself, but you can see we've got a lovely pencil and a lovely Laura Bow notepad to write in. And in fact, in the game itself, these items are represented, so it's almost like you're holding an artifact from within the world of the game. Sierra loved to do that with their feelies, and I think it's definitely something to appreciate. And I kind of wish, that's one of the big things I miss from modern games, is like everything's digital. You don't really get artifacts like this anymore from most games. Occasionally you might get a special edition that comes with some cool stuff you can hold and put on your shelf, but most of the time we miss out on that these days, and that's a little bit sad. Okay. Moving on, we've of course got this beautiful Laura Bow monogram magnifying glass with the red filter. This is going to help us to do copy protection, pass the copy protection for the game. We'll get to that in just a second. First of all, let's take a look at this awesome map. This is a Misty Acres Plantation map, which is the location that the game takes place in. All of the rooms that you play through within the game all take place at Misty Acres. And of course this is a really nice looking map. Of course it is, because it's Sierra and they do a good job with their productions. Looking at the map, you can see we've got the dock where you first arrive, and of course that takes you up to the house through the main courtyard at the front, and you can find a lot of the little locations that you'll need to visit throughout the game. There's a well, there's a gazebo, There's the hedge garden. You even can see one of the characters' houses back here, the servant Seely's house. There's a bridge, all kinds of stuff. I won't spoil too much. I won't point every single detail on the map, but it is very nice. It's a nice looking map. It's well made, well put together, and it feels nice to hold on to it. Now, if we flip that over, we can talk about that copy protection a little bit more now. Flipping it over, we can see... you can faintly see that there's some blue marks on the red, and if we take our red filter, we can filter out all of that red and start to read what is on this paper. On this paper, we can see the fingerprint of a character and their name. Now that's important, because the way the copy protection works when you first start up Borabo is that you'll see a fingerprint on the screen and you must select the correct name that's associated with the fingerprint. So each fingerprint being unique, you should be able to identify whose fingerprint it is by scanning around the back of the map and finding the right one that's on the screen. And that is how it works. It's very cool, right? This is a really, really cool way to do copy protection in a game that doesn't really take you out of the experience. It kind of enhances the experience. It was difficult for people to do copy protection so well. This is one of those copy protections that's actually like, hey, I feel like I'm already playing the game. I feel like I'm already in, you know? And I think that's definitely commendable. Good job. Now, moving on, let's take a look at what else we've got in here. There's so much in this box, it's kind of crazy just how much is in here. Let's open up this letter from Ken Williams. A letter from the President. Wow. Yeah, there it is. This is a letter from the President. Now, this is, of course, is included in a lot of boxes. I have several copies of this letter at this point. So thanks, Ken, for writing me this letter personally. I appreciate it. Obviously, this is not personalized. This is just a printout, dear friends, etc., etc. And yeah, it's got a nice photo here of Ken and Roberta Williams back then. Lovely people, from all accounts. And yeah, if we look at the reverse side, there's nothing else there. It's just blank. But yeah, nice piece of paper. Nice piece of paper to have in the box. Now here is a beautiful 10th anniversary Sierra catalog. Now Sierra had been around for a long time at this point already, and this has a lot of cool advertising in it. Now, I personally like, you know, when it comes to advertising in physical media like this, I kind of love it. This is something that it's very fun to look through. Sometimes you can find games that were never released. Sometimes you can find games that you didn't know about just by nature. Like, that's what the advertising was for, right? And sometimes I find games in these things that I didn't know about. So the Sierra one is no exception. There's a lot of really nice stuff in here. We can go throughout the entire thing and see photographs of different people. We can see this is actually a really awesome piece right here. A demo tape for listening to Roland synthesizer sounds and music, more to the point. This is great. You can actually find this on YouTube. I'll link to it in the description. You can find actual playlists and stuff that include dumps from this cassette tape. But it lets you experience like what the difference between your PC sound can make and what a Roland MT32 can do.
Does your computer sound like this? Well, imagine if it sounded like this. With the right music, a software game can come alive.
And the Roland MT32 experience is definitely, like I said, worthwhile. Here's the machine itself. Nice MT32 right here. Now I'll just skip through this a little bit and we'll see what other kind of stuff is in here. Because there are some really nice photographs of boxes and games and stuff like that. There's articles within. So it's actually a really nice piece. This is something, I think if you can find a digital copy of this to browse through, it would be worthwhile to see you know, the little articles and stories and stuff that are included in here and tell you about the game. It's not just like a picture of a box and a price. You get nice descriptions and stuff like that. And there's codename Iceman, of course. Here it is. This is the Colonel's Bequest. This is what I was looking for. Now, this is a really wonderful illustration of the mansion that the game takes place in. Quite a beautiful piece. I kind of wish they included a poster of that in the game. But, you know, the map is very nice, don't get me wrong, but this would be a beautiful poster to have been included. I'm sure I would have lost it if I ever had this as a kid, but It's a really nice looking picture, and I think that's something worth taking a look at as well. There you go, there's Hero's Quest, before they had to change the name to Quest for Glory, due to copyrights from the board game and video game Hero Quest, which is basically the exact same name, slightly different. A different game, of course. Oh yes, Conquest of Camelot. There's so many great games in here. Oh look, there's Manhunter, another unique game, but not quite, I don't feel it's quite as unique as this was. Oh look, Sylphid here. Is Zeliard on the previous page, maybe? Maybe it's in here somewhere. There's Thexter. This is a fun experience, just to take a look at this sort of thing. Sorcerian, Sylphid. I guess Zeliard wasn't in there, or I skipped it. I may have I may not have been paying enough attention. That's just part of me. Anyway. There it is, the 10th anniversary catalogue. Definitely worth taking a closer look at yourself sometime, I think. Even if it's just grabbing a copy from Archive or something like that. So there it is. This is, I believe, Sierra's most unique adventure game. And I think it's definitely worth taking a look. It's a fun game to play by itself. You don't have to think too hard if you don't want to. But there will be some mysteries to unravel and some layers to unfold, and I think that is a really fun and worthwhile experience, and I wish there was more games that I could get that experience from, frankly. So if you haven't played it, I definitely recommend you seek it out, get yourself a copy of the game, play it, enjoy it, it is fun, it's still great to this day. So what do you think? Is this the most unique Sierra graphic adventure? Am I wrong? Let me know in the comments if you can think of something else that I might not have played yet from them. I haven't played all the Sierra adventure games yet. Maybe I missed something that's very important. Let me know. Also, just let me know, what was your first experience with Colonel's Bequest like? Did you hate it? Do you love it? Let me know. I'm interested to hear more from people, so reach out, get in touch, and let's have a chat. Don't forget, you can always go find me on twitch.tv/FractalMindMike. I'm there every week. Many days a week. You should be able to find some VODs there at the very least if I'm not online when you are. But come and hang out. It's a great time. I love talking about boxes live on stream and learning new things from people who come in and have stories to share with me. So if you're interested in checking out Twitch, please come and hang out. Let me know you came from YouTube. It'd be wonderful to hear from you. Alright, see you next time. Thank you very much.